All right, so if you couldn't tell, these are MX Browns by Cherry, light tactile, standard travel, full nylon cherry housing, stem, who knows. Spring is 16 millimeter single stage, 62-gram bottom out, TX long springs. Pre-lubed? No. And again, manufactured Cherry. So instead of giving you my thoughts, because I think most people, if you've been watching for a while, know that I love Cherry switches, so I don't have to like go over it. I mean, you could look at the Ergo Clear if you want that kind of analysis, but instead, I'm going to tell you the story of how I got these insanely broken in MX Browns for cheap. So, I have an FR301, the desoldering gun, the one that goes like burr. Everyone knows that meme. And the first thing that came to my head when I bought that gun was not only, oh, I can desolder PCBs off of used keyboards, but why not do it on like old gaming keyboards? They're already broken in by gamers, and they're usually sold pretty cheap on eBay. So, while most people do overprice their crap and they go like, I know what I have, you can find some gems if you look hard enough and have the patience to disassemble them. Sometimes you just got to figure it out yourself. But you know what? Get a plastic pry bar, screwdriver kit, should be flying. So fast forward, and I'm looking at this Coolermaster 2014 MX broadboard. TKL, all plastic, priced at $30 including shipping. I saw it was kind of dirty, and I was like, looks good to me. So I bought it. If you bought 90 off a vendor, it'd be about like, what, 35? Who knows how much shipping is, but about 35 plus 5, let's say, in shipping, 40. Saved about $10, but these are broken in. At least I thought. You kind of gamble. But if it's used and not refurbished, typically they are broken in a little bit. But this one was a 2014 board. And if you used it for who knows how long, it's going to be really broken in, right? If you use it every day. So I received the box, brown box, keyboard bubble wrapped to death, surrounded by old newspapers. And I unwrapped the plastic keyboard and noticed that the keycaps were dirty. And I could see hair like through the cracks of the keycaps. So I put on some gloves, and then the cigarette smell hit, and I was like, oh shit, what's happening here? So, what am I getting into? And I thought to myself, this has got to be used every day. I mean, he didn't care about pet hair. He didn't care about smoking cigarettes near it. I mean, this guy probably just used it on the regular. So out of curiosity, I hit the E key, and immediately my life flashed. No, I'm just kidding. I was just taken aback. I was like, this is very smooth. It's not even lubed, right? Because switches at these times just came bone dry, especially if it's from Cherry. So I was like, this is incredibly smooth without lube and film. So go ahead, disassemble it, desolder the PCB. Thank God there are no diodes for RGB, and got that out. Made sure to go over the pins on the bottom one more time because I can use them in, I don't know if enough people say this, but you can use desoldered switches in Hotswap PCBs just fine. A lot of people say, be careful. And no, I don't recommend it. But guys, like as long as you have an FR301 and you go over the pins after, you can clean them up to the point where it never hurts your Hotswap PCB. I know, because my hero has been through a lot of desoldered switches. You might hate me for that, but I don't know. Take from that what you will. After what? Like over 20 sound tests, it's still going strong. So anyways, I got this quickly shipped to Roy for lube plus film plus spring swap service and got it back. And I decided to save these along with the other bunch of switches as a palette cleanser. Because every now and then you have to go back to your roots. You have to go like, why do I even like the hero in the first place? This is a tester board. I shouldn't even like it. Right? It's like when people have a Vega and some of them don't even love it that much. It's just good to test switches in. Not throwing shit at anyone, but I'm not even going to lie to you. I bought a Vega because I wanted it as a tester board, but I got sick of a foam sound. So I put them back in the hero, and I remembered why I love the keyboard. It's I love the Hero. I really do. With cherry switches. Anyways, uh, big question. Would I keep it in my Hero? If you heard the story and you've been watching my channel, it's a hell yes. Yeah, you know I would keep it. It's a light tactile. It's broken into, I don't even know. It's got to be over 450,000 for sure. Maybe approaching some. I don't know, man. It's just really smooth. It's a lubed and filmed in Spring Swap by Roy himself. And, I wish my Hero wasn't such a good tester board, because then I could just keep this in there all the time. But I know sometime tomorrow I'm just going to have to take him out, test the next Switch, which is fine. Life's, Switches are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, right? So with that being said, if you're interested in trying a light tactile, look no further. Just get Lube plus film plus spring swapped butter browns from Roy at Custom Keyboard Company. Make sure to spring swap them. Stock cherry springs suck. It's well known. And you'll get something pretty close to this sound. If you're curious on more of the specifics of copying my strat of salvaging used gaming keyboards, I'm not even joking. Look for some dirt. Look for some dirty stuff and just be ready to wear gloves, and who knows how it's going to smell. But if you're willing, you're going to get some free broken in switches. A lot of them are Cherry MX Reds. If you can't get over the fact that it's a red colored stem, I hate to break it to you, but the only difference between a black and a red is the stem color and the spring, and you swap out that spring anyway. So unless you have like transparent keycaps, that shouldn't be an issue. But maybe it is to you. Maybe you kind of gaslit yourself into thinking MX Blacks and MX Reds are different. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that. Okay. And to go back to the salvaging, right? When you buy a refurbished keyboard, not a used keyboard, right? You run the risk of the board being completely new. And what they had to do to refurbish it was fix like a diode that died or something from the factory. I know that because I ran into that. I was like, well, these are refurbished. They probably just fixed a switch or two. No, they were dry, and it looked like they fixed something on the RGB side. So that was kind of sucked, but I'll take the fall for everyone, right? So cheers and happy hunting if you are interested in that. I would say don't buy anything over $30. I don't think any of those old gaming keyboards from like 2018 before, 2019 before, because 2019 is when Hyperglides were introduced. I would say anything before 2019, even though they're retooled, don't go over 30. It just doesn't make economical sense, right? If they want that money, don't give it to them. Don't budge. It's just not worth the effort, because you still have to desolder, deal with all the diodes on Corsair keyboards. I mean, I think Corsair keyboards have 2 diodes for the RGB, or two diodes for 2 pins for the diode for the RGB, and you have to do the 2, so you have 4 for every switch, right? Razer switches, the ones I've been doing, have 4 for the RGB diode. Okay, so I do 6 per switch. 6 times 104. You can imagine how many times that gun goes burr. Okay. But yeah, anyways, I thought I'd do a more lighthearted video, more chill, something where I wasn't being super critical. So I hope that was enjoyable, a nice story time to share with everyone. And if you do end up doing what I do, I heard people wanting to harvest Razer oranges because they're like, what the heck, these sound kind of good. Yeah, please let me know how it goes. Just please have a desoldering gun. It doesn't have to be a Hako. It's just Hako's like the default, but don't do it without a gun in case they're diodes. It's not for the faint of heart. All right. Okay. Take care.